So this is another labor of love because I am experimenting. There's intention.
From the ripple-like clay paintings on the walls, to the poems hidden within the central beam, to the traditional woven fabrics that span the world, to the wooden furniture crafted by their owner, everything in Uni's home seems to have a story. With a career in architecture, natural building, and permaculture, Uni has made this beautiful earthen hanok her home. Hanok being the name for a traditional Korean house. The floor plan arranges its 5 spaces called kan in a straight line. Moving from left to right, we enter the guest room, then Uni's room, then the living room, and finally the kitchen and bathroom. The ceilings have been removed to expose the roof's roundwood frame. Next door, Uni runs a tiny home Airbnb that features an extended window for drinking tea, enjoying the view, and anything in between. Uni thinks of this hanok as akin to a harmony. Existing for 75 years now, she has witnessed a lifetime of rain, sun, snow, wind, and fog passing through the valley of Chirizan. A repairing of her walls, a refinishing of her beams, a revitalization of her abandoned soil. She requires a lot of labor and a lot of love. Welcome to Uni's home.
진짜 말이 많네. 어? 이렇게 말이 많아. 알았어. You mentioned that at the markets everything was packaged like fruit boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I think during the Japanese times, everything was made with like bamboo baskets,
Mm.
and it was more rough. But it was like everyday use. Like at the markets, that's how they sold the boxes of like apples at that time. Okay. That's what you do with your lip.
Mm.
The last. Not too bad. You get 2. And then usually 1 more, but this one I think is definitely maybe too thin.
Would you say that splitting is the hardest part?
It's all about splitting.
Mm.
It's the whole process is all splitting it from big, cutting it, and.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first garden is over there, but this is an abandoned lot that had just weeds growing out of it and a lot of trash people were throwing away. And so it seemed like a good space to make a garden. And it's right across the street from the house. And I always typically make a mandala garden because for me the circle has a lot of meaning. Sort of kind of a meditative circle. And I want to go away from the traditional sort of vertical, just long beds, but more organic shape. And so yeah, you have the mandala in the middle. These stones were from the old kudurbang. I think from the house that was demolished. There was a pile of stones that we used to make the pathways. And it's been an effort with a lot of work with volunteers to help make this happen. And it kind of it looks chansuro, like I told you, it looks like a flower motif. Do you see it? That's the flower, the circle. Mm-hmm. Then you have the path, that's like the stem of the flower. And you have a leaf pattern. It wasn't necessarily intended, it just evolved that way. Yeah. But it's a little bit to me, chansuro. Okay. I like it more abstract usually. So this is the one I was telling you I planted like a vine that goes down and it has sort of autumn colors. It's quite pretty. This is what was at the temple entrance. So I want to plant more. I just take out the weeds above.
So you don't really buy a lot of plants over there?
Yeah, I like to take from other existing and just spread it. I don't see the need to buy everything. It's just nature. Nature should be free. Oh, the purple flower bloomed. It's the first one. So this is a pomegranate tree. And that's a little pomegranate tree that was hiding back there and didn't get any love, no sun. So it didn't really grow. But the previous owner had planted these. And I imagine they planted at the same time, yet this one hasn't thrived.
Oh, I see.
And this one was in the back. It was transplanted here. In the back, it got a lot of water, so I think it grew really well. The location was getting too much water, so it wasn't going to be healthy for this tree long term. This is wasabi, tasting, I think it's called nasturtium. It's all edible. It tastes like wasabi. It has these pretty red flowers.
I tried it.
And this is the evening primrose. It has these beautiful yellow flowers that bloom at night. And they're also edible. That's a apple date tree.
This one?
This tree right there. And behind is this small persimmon tree that I planted, it's only like 1.5 years old. So it'll take a little while for it to grow in. That's aronia. These kind of bushes. So this is all grass, extension of the grass lawn is all continued up to here. So in the last 2.5 years, we have been sort of building up the soil. So first thing, we put cardboard down onto the grass to suppress the grass instead of digging out the grass. It's easier. Put cardboard down, all the bamboo that we cut back behind the house, and then leaves from the fall. And we just kept adding food waste here, like making a hole and dumping the food waste. And then it also added existing compost. So it's taken a while for it to really break down. But now it's going to be the first year where there's some weed seeds coming in. But it's getting in there. This is a type of Korean thyme. I don't remember the name, but only the spring has these kind of purple flowers. It spreads pretty quickly. This is the saseongbyung boat, which means like love sickness. It's beautiful red irises in the late summer. This I transplanted from the forest. It's like a little umbrella-looking plant. It's also edible when they're young. Behind that is a sage plant that's red and white flowers. I just transplanted the other day, and it's between two blueberry trees. This is an existing pine tree. This is a maesir, Korean plum. My machines for woodworking. So this is depa, Korean whatever like it's kind of like leek, I guess, in English. So last year I had planted potatoes here, but this year I'm gonna do more, maybe just broccoli. Here I planted carrots previously. It's gonna be beets this year. It's chives. This is strawberries, but eventually, I've already transplanted most of it down below to the lower garden where there's more space. Here it gets a little bit lack of sun, I think. I just planted some spinach and arugula. They're a little close together, so I'll have to spread them out a little bit. And more depa in the front. And in the summer months, it gets too hot for arugula and spinach. So because this is a little more shaded, they may survive better. Same as here. This is going to be like a lettuce, sort of greens. There's more spinach, arugula, different lettuce varieties, some thyme. I forgot the name of this one. It has this like big citrus fruit, but it's for the tea. You dry the
Mogwa?
Mogwa namu.
This one?
Yeah. So you just like dry the skin and you make a tea out of it. It's really supposed to be very healthy. A lot of antioxidants or immune booster. But I used this type of tree bark for a lot of the furniture in the house. So it has this green kind of texture, but then when it dries, it has this kind of burgundy red. It's really nice. So, but in the up behind the house into the forest, there's a huge one of this tree, and it needed to be cut back anyway. So I took one branch and I made some furniture, legs for tables. I just planted 4 chilies, Korean chilies. This is a 청양고추, it's a spicy one. And these I got from the market. I wanted to have a little bit of a harvest before my chilies come up. This is ehobak. I just planted this morning. This also I bought from the market. Kind of like a Korean zucchini. There's more spinach and back there. Yeah, I do like spinach. So in the fall, we collected a lot of leaves that had fallen and mulched heavily. And it brings nutrients as well as sort of a ground cover to keep the other weeds from coming up or holding moisture in the summer months. I need another batch of leaves. So as you can tell, the kitchen's still ongoing. That's the bathroom door behind. This is the living space. I took out one of the walls here to combine 2 rooms to make a larger living space. I think it's called khan. So this is 2 khans combined. And then that door used to be here. And this door, removed it so that I could access from inside the house, the room. It's a living space. And then this room. So maybe you want to I'll show you. It might be a little hard to see. But there's writing along the main beam. Structural beam. And so the person who built this house, or the owner of the house, wrote something he wanted to say, like a blessing or a poem. And he had a lot to say because it spans the whole length. And then there was a piece of paper, like rice paper, kanji paper, there was more writing on it, which unfortunately the electrician took it out by accident. It was wedged between the little post and column, beam. So it was built in 1957, and I believe the grandmother was the last person from the family that lived here until she died. So these are earthen walls. The existing walls when I bought the house had a little bit of cement mixed in, but these are pure. We took out the cement walls, mixed walls, so you can see the difference between the texture is a little bit nicer. The final is linseed oil.
Did you get this wood yourself, or did you?
Yeah, so I bought a bunch of wood from this one lumber yard in Tamyang, actually. It was a friend of the hanok carpenter, and so he gave me some extra wood for a good price to make furniture. It was a little twisted, so it was a bit cheaper, but it was a bit of labor to sort of sand it down, to level it out. And it's a little bit narrow. It's only an unfortunate thing, but it's a beautiful texture. And then we kind of burnished it, kind of burnt it, to bring out the wood grain.
Is that also wood?
No, yeah, I think it's from the same place. And this wood oven, wood stove, a friend, this German friend who's an engineer, he makes custom ovens, so helps keep the space warm during the winter months.
Where'd you get this?
So this is a custom speaker by a Korean Japanese teacher of mine. He worked for a speaker company when he first came to Seoul, and prior to that he lived in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil for like 18 years, and he used to be a sushi chef. And at his restaurant, a lot of live musicians would perform, and so he heard a lot of live music, bossa nova. And so when he came to Korea, he missed live music, so he wanted to create a speaker system, surround system that had the quality of live music.
So
it's a very unique system.
These trees are a part of the speaker system?
It's just holding the... These are 3 Twitter speakers. There's a speaker at the top and then a speaker at the bottom. Oh. So people think that sound travels faster to the ear. Like you hear music first or sound, but actually you feel it, the vibration of the body first. So if you have the speaker at the bottom and then the vibration, the bass will travel, especially on wood floors, you feel it more in the body, the vibration first, then before the ears. So people don't know that. Oh. So it's a unique system, but because the speaker companies have monopolized the more rectangular shaped speakers, they're more practical, functional. But these are, in terms of sound, these are apparently better. And it's an unusual shape. And then he worked with a lacquer artist, Uchir. The crane design. It's lacquered.
It's not oyster shell.
I'm not sure. I never asked him, but I'm not familiar with the process of lacquering, but it does look like it could be oyster shells. But I'm not sure how they do it. And it's bamboo and clay to make that shape.
Whoa, really?
Mm-hmm.
Bamboo too? What are all these clear frames?
These?
Yeah, the wooden.
These are just old doors, partitions I found over the years.
From Korea, all of them?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to sort of decorate it with old Korean furniture type, furniture items. But it's a bit rustic. The house is rustic, so it's hard to design in a way where it's like a little too busy. So I think I want to shift to a more minimal addition for shelves and things. The kitchen shelf right now still needs work. It needs to be grinded down. These rods aren't supposed to support it. It's not cantilevered properly. So anyway, we're gonna add more shelves. Finish the wood frame around the door. Have a pantry shelf along that column, and maybe a little island that's longer than the existing table. And then a big table here for sort of workshops or for prepping for a big event.
Could you talk about the table and the wood?
It's Indonesian. I discovered it's Indonesian hardwood, and I think it was originally used as a boat, and you can see some of the details. But I salvaged it from my own landlord who was going to just burn it. But they were made into tables and then it sat outside for many years. So there is some like damage, some mold, and it's very strong, but a bit heavy. And so we pieced together several pieces. Yeah, I've salvaged a lot of wood that's being thrown out from demolition sites.
And these stools are also made from the same wood?
Mm-hmm. Except the legs. The legs I found. I was just driving somewhere on the way to Suncheon, and I saw this wood that was. It looked like someone was throwing them away, so I salvaged it. It turns out it's actually a really nice. I don't know the name. It has a nice red color, or burgundy color. It's just one big piece of wood that we cut down into to make the legs.
Where'd you get this rug? Where'd you get this rug?
This is from a friend's shop in Jeonju, but she sells items from Thailand, India, just Southeast Asia. But this one's from India. It's handmade, hand woven. This is actually from Mexico, this one. So I really love handcrafts, so I have a collection of different things. This is from my recent trip to Peru. And then the other one, this is all hand, kind of batik style. You use waxed. Black ink. I think it's also naturally dyed. It's nice.
Also from Peru?
It's from this one tribe. Shipibo? No, I always pronounce it right. Pronounce it wrong. Shipibo tribe. Yeah. Indigenous tribe in Peru. A lot of shamans come from this tribe. And this one has a jaguar. All my money goes to craft and food and travel. And the snake.
I see it.
It's beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's still my favorite. I don't know where to put it yet. Does it work? And this is woven from. I think it's from Mexico. It's a bit of an American company.
The pillow?
Mm-hmm. But it's interesting because it's considered a Sacred Heart, and in Peru it's like an Inca symbol, but they use a lot on their jewelry. But so I think the Native American communities had these kind of similar sacred symbols.
Mm-hmm.
In Vietnam, like in Southeast Asia, where I've traveled, and like from traditional crafts.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of similarities.
In the shapes of the symbols?
Different forms. Like that. Could be like, you've seen that, I think, also in Korean traditional.
Yeah. Interesting. Have you ever tried textile weaving?
I have not. But I appreciate it. See, like we took out the drop ceiling to expose the wood frame. There's a lot of work to re-plaster the earthen plaster and then clean all the oil. Sand at the wood beams. oil them, and then also oil the earthen plaster. I didn't use limestone on this one. I think it kind of looks nice with the earthen tones. And this is the lower walls are the existing walls are mixed a little bit with cement, which is why they have more of a peachy look, color. That's the same Indonesian wood we use for the shelf on that back wall. That's a mandala from Nepal. It's like a prayer, Tibetan prayer. But it's traditional Tibetan style drawings, paintings.